Yeah, this whole sequence. This is the part where, again, Wing became very confusing for me. I still watched it, but it was like...
I was just watching for the Zex parts, so this was like good for me. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, and we are back with another episode of Gundam Wing. Coming off of the back of episodes 19 and 20, I come back with a board and some notes. Once again, Lessons has had computer problems, so he hasn't been able to take notes once again. So it's just going to be left to me, everyone's favorite character on this show, to hit you with whatever occurred to me this morning and last night. But first, let's go ahead and hit the board, where I come with the board changelog, where I connected Howard to Zex with a green line. I connected Nicole to Wu Fei with a red line. I connected Sally Poe to the Megonic core with a white line. I connected Troa to Lady Un with a white line. And then I connected Nicole to Troa with a red line.
Yeah, the whole Troa thing threw me off for a bit. It's supposed to be an interesting development, but we'll see where that goes.
Well, the problem there is what you just said is subjective. It's supposed to be an interesting development. Well, what you're interested in is subjective.
Yeah.
I can't tell if anything in the show is supposed to be interesting. It's not subtle. Well, if it's not subtle, as what I've indicated before, then is anything interesting if it's just being told to you, essentially. The show has the habit of telling you a thing that's true now. Nothing before has been weighed against what's true, right? The fact that Hiro Yui was assassinated 24 years ago? 20 years ago.
Yeah.
24 years ago. Sorry. Last episode had a history wipe, from 175 to now, but they don't actually indicate when the thing was going to happen, because essentially the news was nothing happened from 175 forward. So it's, I don't know when that's supposed to have happened. I don't specifically remember. But nothing is dependent upon that. And I don't imagine anything being dependent upon that until something needs to be, in which case they'll tell us. Nothing is set up ahead of time. Like, the things that I think should be set up ahead of time are the things I feel like people are going to be like, why does he keep harping on this thing? Because I had it in the back of my head. People would be like, oh, he was harping about that one thing Trey said that one time. Let it go. It has nothing to do with anything to worry. It's just something somebody said. And my thought process is, you don't do that for me. I say that something one time. You never let it go. You hate me forever for that one thing I said that one time.
Commenter's privilege, I guess. Commenter's privilege. Yeah, let's go with that.
Well, anything to say about the board?
Not really.
I'm having a real hard time with the board.
It is getting a bit confusing.
Well, no, I'm sorry. That's your problem with the board. My problem with the board is generally this area. Well, generally this 3-tier area here, because the lines are thick. I can't get through the area anymore. So, like, if, say, Troa had to get somebody else attached to him, you think, oh, it's fine. There's this big old wide open spot right here. Try getting in there. You have to go, like, way up here and come down through, assuming there's even room for lines to go that way. That's the problem with this. I feel like I should have separated these characters out, but that also behooves me knowing what's going to be happening. Like, obviously, it's no problem adding lines to the Megonic core. They're all fine. They're on the edges. Zex is fine, because I can come out and around. These guys in the middle, I've just got no hope for.
Yeah, it's a bit of a highway. It looks like a very complex spring route system.
I was thinking more like circuit board.
Not quite.
But yeah, like, there's a couple open lines over here on this side, but again, I can't get a line through because it's filled in. Or I have to go through people's names like I did with Dr. J and Howard Kiruyui.
Which makes it harder to read with certain letters.
If it was white, yeah. But yeah, that's my problem with the board at the moment. Typically, the only solution I've ever found to that is make the pictures bigger so there's more space to add more lines.
Bigger or smaller?
Bigger. How would it make them smaller? That would be the opposite effect. What's the character who has a bunch? I know one of these characters is just about to run out of lines. Even though they're a different board. Yeah, nobody here is really running out of space. Like, a lot of the problems would be like what Sex is right now, where his right-hand side would be on all sides, like just completely run out of space. If I made, you see he's like basically a 4x4 with a couple extra on the bottom. If I made him smaller, like you were suggesting, he'd have even less room for lines. If I make it bigger, almost doubles the amount of available line space. Unfortunately, that would require that I completely remake the board to do that. Doing the board does not an insignificant amount of time requirement.
I believe you have notes.
I guess Howard was the odd man out among the scientists. He is the only one that went to Earth, and despite my thinking he was the one associated with the Death Scythe, he apparently worked on the Tall Geese and then went on to work on none of the Gundams, unlike the rest of the scientists.
Makes sense. Also, why he would be available to help Duo when he was there, because he was already on Earth with a crew of people, by the way. So he kept his team or assembled a new team around him.
It's never implied that the other scientists have teams.
True. But at the same time, they don't seem like they could build things by themselves, an entire machine by themselves, because we don't see any robots or anything like that would help them do it.
I would argue that the counter indication is that they can, because they did.
I mean, they could have a team and they just disperse a team. Like, I'll surrender myself and you guys get out of here. So, but
each of them independently, because they're not in communication with one another. So the idea would be that each of them had a team, and then each of them got caught, had already at the same time previously got rid of their teams.
All the teams were captured, and since they're not important people, they don't appear.
Except that we see the hangar that they're working in, and you assume that they would need the teams that built the Gundams to also then build these new things. But their expertise would be required for the project. Build me something better than the Gundams. Well, I'll need my team that you've already arrested to build things better than the Gundams. Like I said, the not happenstance, the coincidence involved in all of these people vanishing all at the same time seems to be less likely than they built it themselves.
Okay, I'm going to run that by me again.
I believe the Occam's razor of the situation is that it's easier to explain one person doing a thing by themselves than it is to explain how 5 individuals dismissed whole groups of people at the same time, and then have those entire 5 different groups of people vanish into the ether, all independent of one another as well. You're having to explain away a bunch of different circumstances for 5 different people and 5 different teams of people versus explaining away one person apiece.
Well, we do know, for example, that Dr. J is working with the resistance in the colony. So those people could have provided materials and help in one form or another.
You say he's working with them. They have not been seen since that one incident. He could have just appeared and explained that he was a sympathetic party. He didn't seem to have any authority over them. They weren't like, oh, thank God you're here, Dr. J. It was like, he was just there.
Oh, yeah, but it also is like, oh, I'll take her with me. It's like, let this perfect stranger we don't know take this girl back to wherever she's going in his limo.
What were they going to do with her?
Try to not to have her. The idea was to keep her alive. So
also, you're implying that they care. It's like a perfect stranger. Take this young girl. Sure, she's not even from the colony. Like, who the fuck
No, but
cares?
they seem to be caring. They do seem to care because they go to a great lengths to protect her in the first place. And then when Dr. J shows up, it's like, okay, well, we're not doing that anymore.
But again, it doesn't seem like he's in command there or anything.
No, they say
He's literally an
working
old guy who
together.
walks out of the shadows.
Working together, not necessarily that he is in command.
That's what I've said. He's just going to be a sympathetic party.
So they know each other.
You're trying to explain where if he had a crew, and you're trying to associate those guys with what possibly might have been happening to his crew. And I'm saying there's no indication of that. As I said, the Occam's razor here is that it's easier to explain away that he did this himself than it is to explain a whole bunch of people that may or may not have vanished.
Also, and the thing is, it has to be a team because we know that and to even modify the talk, they use teams for that. So
we've seen that Oz had teams. Oz isn't the one that built it. Oz had to figure it out and then rebuild it. We know Dr. J set up an entire fucking gun pointed at the outside of a colony in his control room for a whole setup that seemed to have involved nobody, just him.
Yeah, that's a major plot hole right there.
I don't think it's a plot hole. I think it's indicative of the discussion that we're having, that apparently he's capable of doing these things solo.
Which he shouldn't be, because there's only one guy with 2 arms, 2 legs, and how many years did it take?
Correction. 1 arm and 2 legs and a claw.
Yeah.
Or a grabber, technically.
You can be very smart, but there's always limitations to what you can physically do, right? Or should be anyway.
As I said, it's easier to explain him doing it by himself than it is what happened to all these people. You remember that, God, what show was it? The conspiracy of keeping all of these people quiet. This was this show. How did the entirety of Oz infiltrate every place on the Earth, Sphere Alliance, to be able to conduct this operation in one day? Right? Same kind of problem there. How do we disseminate all of these people back into society, and not one of them says anything? Gives away where Dr. J is. It's just like, also, just Dr. J. There's, 4 other scientists that all also have to be accounted for here. And Howard apparently took all of his to Earth.
And also all of them extremely peculiar in their facial expressions. They're like nobody else in the show. From one guy who doesn't even have a nose, to another much of a nose, to one that has a claw. Right? These people stand out no matter what.
I mean, the no-nose guy, obviously, and also Dr. J for, grab you McGrab hands, but the other guys are normal-ish. I mean, you're like saying nobody looks like anybody else. Well, yeah, I'm looking at the board. Well, I was looking at the board while you're saying that. Most people don't look like anybody else. Everyone's fairly unique. Like, our used car salesman guy kind of looks like Abdul from the Megonic Corps. So I don't think we can call him out on just having a weird mustache.
Professor G has a nose that looks like he would be 300 years old, basically. So at least 2 of these guys might pass characters, the guy with the stiletto mustache.
Used car salesman, and the boxing professor. They look like normal. I mean, compared to everybody else, they look a little weirdish, but everyone kind of looks a little weirdish. Like, if that guy didn't have that haircut, I think he'd probably fit in fine. You're pointing out how his long-ass nose, but I think it's fine. The only one that really stands out is the fake nose guy, because obviously it's on his face, the first place you look. I'm not even sure it's a fake nose. It's not like...
it is. It has strings attached to it.
That doesn't mean it's a fake nose. Again, I don't think he's like, what's his name, from Usagi Yojimbo. I think that could just be a covering. He could have some sort of weird nose mask going on. If the idea is they're all eccentric, that could just be his eccentricity. I'd have to think there'd be something more evident if he was missing his nose versus Also, that'd be a horrible way to keep a fake nose on a face. You'd be moving around and this thing would be jerking all around because the 4-point positions of keeping it on your face wouldn't keep it from jostling. You would want something semi-permanent, like, probably little metal clamps, so you like clip it in.
No, he has no nose. There's nothing to clip it in unless it's clipping it.
Yeah, no, there's an empty skull socket usually right around there because this is all cartilage. Yeah. So you would clip into around the bone.
Yeah. Ouch.
Well, no, probably not. It would probably not feel like anything. Maybe like when you clip in, there would be like the sensation of pressure. But I don't imagine, because it's bone, it's not nerve endings.
Yeah, but your skin moves around so you can feel it. Like,
oh yeah, that's probably all. Whatever you lost his nose for, right? It's probably scabbed, dead, not dead tissue, but well, it would be deadish, but it's probably all thickened by whatever. Also, the fact you're putting pressure. Who knows? Maybe the part that clips in is cushioned around the edge. The idea is more so that it creates a tight seal and not that. You also don't want to leave a hole to your face exposed. You don't want to be Skeletor. Colonel Un replaced the former Alliance commander of the Space Forces. Well, isn't that a coincidence? She also killed him. Only way to climb that ladder, I guess.
That's a Klingon promotion right there.
I feel like the show has no memory of itself. Treize was hoping Oz would be hated and thus didn't care what the political fallout of their worldwide hostile actions were. The colony diplomats have no memory of Oz pointing missile platforms at the colonies as a threat against the Gundams. Everyone is happy to move on with peace negotiations as though nothing had happened. I mean, it would be different if we just assumed the colonies were powerless and were taking these We're taking these negotiations through gritted teeth as the only possible option for them, but we've seen behind closed doors how much the second generation actually believes what Oz is saying.
Yeah, I think, again, the problem is in another show, you would have a little more discussion. You would have different points of view. You would have somebody who goes around and sort of brings everybody into like, oh, yeah, this, but we got to deal with this, right? The gritted teeth, right? Some people were like, yeah, I don't trust them, but it's our best choice, etc. I mean, for all the talk we had about going back to another Gundam show, Gundam Seed Destiny, and the negotiations about joining the Earth Alliance or Earth Federation by what's the name? Let's see, the nation that's the equivalent of Japan in there. Not Oz, but it has a very similar name.
Well, it's 3 letters instead of Oz's 2.
Yeah.
Starts with the same letters, though.
Yeah.
Trying to help you.
And Kigali, having these conversations, at least they had the conversations, right? They were like, oh, no, wait, these are salient points is what I want to try to convince you. Sure, there's risk, but, so better written would have been something that would have helped here. Because they have the scenes. It's just that they're like, one old man going like, well, we shouldn't do this. We don't trust him. And everyone was like, yeah, we can. End of conversation, basically.
That's very much the inverse of that scene from Chernobyl.
I haven't watched it, actually. I should.
Well, that's on you. Been out long enough now.
Yeah, that's what I said. I haven't watched it. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I know. And then I said, it's on you. It's been out long enough now. There's no chance in hell Lady Un was kidding about the ugly thing. She's clearly playing every angle possible, including the media side. Anything she can use to further her position is viable. No doubt the soldier questioning her made her realize that there was no way she was going to get an order like that down the chain of command and just backed off, rather than pushing it and have Treize contact her again about what she's up to.
So the lesson is don't get caught, basically. The lesson like you gotta learn about how this in Oz. So if I don't get caught, I can do whatever I want. Yay!
Well, I mean, last time Treize called her, she invented a second personality.
Yeah.
When Hero rescues Duo from the cell, they need time for Duo and Hero to chat, but didn't have a large animation budget. So Hero stands perfectly still for about 15 seconds with Duo on his arm and checks the hallway 6 times in a row. Just looking back and forth every other second the entire time. I feel like in a better written show, they would have just holed up in the room to have their conversation, then made a break for it. But this is just a classic staple of Wing. Long-winded conversations with looped animations. Worse yet, the surveillance room says nothing about it until after the bombs go off, and someone specifically mentions... Sorry, must have been one of my last thoughts before I went to sleep. Specifically mentions raises security on the Gundam pilot, at which point they chime in with how the pilot escaped with someone's help, as though they've been watching the whole time.
What can I tell you?
I guess Lady Un is a new type now, talking without using the radio directly into the mind of Wu Fei, and not for nothing, with the other side sparkling around her.
Yeah, that was pretty Kira there. What the fuck is going on here?
With only 1/6 the gravity of Earth, the moon wasn't suitable for human inhabitation. 13 seconds later, the moon further developed into a popular tourist destination for Earthlings. First off, way to keep track of the plot. Not that it made much sense to begin with. Second, I guess we're using Earthlings to refer to people from Earth as opposed to people from the colonies.
Yeah, there's always been a thing about Gundam that it's usually the humans, just people from Earth, they have a position on space that is not the colonies because they're opposed to the colonies. They just bypass the colonies and go all the way. So the moon and Earth are usually in alignment, and the colonies are doing their own thing. That sense makes sense. But the whole, we couldn't live here, but we're going to build a mall.
Because, I guess it makes sense from the aspect if there's not a hotel there. If there's a hotel there, then none of this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if it's a tourist destination, like we're going to spend a day at the moon and go back home.
Yeah, but
that's
people have
it.
Okay,
but if there's like a single hotel there, there's one single hotel there where someone's sleeping and staying an extended period, then their whole thing falls apart. And I know you're about to jump into actually why it makes no sense lessons, but I'm going to say I don't care about that. I'm only using their internal logic. Their internal logic is you can't stay here for a long time because of the low gravity.
Yeah.
But you know what else doesn't have low gravity? The rest of space, where we're apparently living and traveling. So the time it takes to get from Earth to a colony is probably longer than a day. I say probably because also our Gundam pilots teleport, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It's like before I spoil anything else, did you watch Game of Thrones? Is that just one of the other things you skipped?
Yes, I did watch a lot of Game of Thrones. Not all of it, but I watched enough.
The end? Did you see the end?
Yeah, everybody teleports to everyone else, like the dragons are. Like one place.
Well, my main thing is how Varys just teleports from one continent to the other.
Yeah.
Because technically he sails from one continent to the other, and then it's just back again without the sailing part.
Yeah.
It's funny. I know this show wants us to buy into the idea of absolute pacifism, and the colonies not wanting to make weapons over the conceit that the war is over and the peace won't require them, only makes Lady Un the most sane person in the room, and that's saying something given her current character arc. I'm fairly certain I've mentioned this in a number of times in the Seed reaction, but there is never going to be an acceptable answer on what to do about the fighting that will seem realistic or applicable to the real world. All of human history has amounted to the world's greatest minds not finding an answer, and I'm sorry, but I doubt anime writers are going to be the ones that do it.
I mean, how can I put this?
Probably in the most offensive way possible.
No. In this case, there doesn't seem to be any enemies to fight, so why would they arm themselves?
Because of the whole point that I made before about Oz and what Oz did to the colonies.
Yes, but they're siding with Oz, right? Ostensibly, Oz is there to protect them.
The Gundams.
But if the Gundams get destroyed...
Not all of them have been yet.
So, yeah, but...
How about the aspect of if one person has a weapon, you probably should have a weapon too?
Yeah, but Oz is worried about the Gundam, not the colony.
Colonies are worried about the Gundam specifically because they made a news thing about them standing with Oz against the Gundams.
Because they want to, they're sucking up because. But they're more afraid that
they are sucking up. That still implies that they are concerned about the Gundams, not for nothing, but also that the Gundams represented them for a time. So it's an onus that they have to get off of their back.
But not enough to build weapons to fight the Gundams. They're like, oh yeah, we just side with Oz. Oz, you take care of it, right? It's a political statement, but not a military one. If I would make sense, right? Like, oh, we're not with them. Sorry. Bygones be bygones here. I
would argue that using Oz against the Gundams is a military statement.
Yeah, but that would be Oz against the Gundams since the colonies no longer has any connection to the Gundams. If you don't have a weapon publicly.
And you call in a person with a weapon and you're still being a militant, you're just not directly being a militant.
Yeah, but again, if I
weaponize the cops against you because I don't have a gun and the cops shoot you, I am still directly in the loop of responsibility.
Yes, but I'm talking about rearming or arming the colonies, because the colonies never seem to be arming the first.
That is the point that I'm making, though, Lessons. Is that even though if they're staying unarmed, if they call in the Oz military to deal with the Gundams, they are directly in the loop of involvement. That's apropos of my, if I call the cops on you, if I weaponize the cops against you, and the cops shoot you, I'm in the loop of responsibility for you having been shot. In this case, the Oz military becomes the colony's military because the Oz controls the colonies. Kind of in the same way that the colonies are somewhat responsible for the Alliance military that's still located there, because the Alliance controlled the colonies, so technically the Alliance bases on those colonies still represents the colonies. So the colonies are trying to get rid of those Alliance bases. No.
But the Alliance imposed themselves on the colonies. Colonies never had say in it, so that
doesn't matter.
It's not like
just because a dictator controls you doesn't mean you're not controlled by the dictator.
What I'm trying to say here is they're not responsible for the Alliance's actions because they never had a choice on those actions.
Responsibility is applied.
Why is it implied?
Didn't say implied. I said applied. The person who's blaming you for the thing is holding you responsible. It doesn't matter at the end of the day if you actually are. You have to deal with... No, it doesn't. It does for you, but at the end of the day, you're the non-military power having to deal with two different militaries trying to assert control of your territory. You are beholden to whoever holds you responsible for things. Again, I think this is a similar argument to something we've had before about perception being reality. In which case, if I blame you for a thing and I start opening fire on your house, I know I'm really violent with these examples for some reason. If I hold you responsible for something and I start opening fire on your house because I held you responsible for it, it doesn't matter if you believe you're responsible or not. You are being fired upon due to my belief. My belief and authority with a gun, power that the gun gives me over life and death, is more important than your belief in your responsibility. You can try to prove yourself not responsible all you want. At the end of the day, if I believe you're responsible and I'm asserting control over you, then that's all that really matters in reality.
Yeah, but that's still on you. It doesn't matter. I mean, there's nothing I can do.
It's not on me. It's on you. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm indicating with my example towards the colonies. The Alliance asserting its control over them, it makes them a territory of the Alliance, and at the end of the day, when Oz comes and says, we want you to be an Oz territory, and the Alliance is currently holding authority over you by their military, you are still part of the Alliance. You either have to find a way to get rid of the Alliance, submit to Oz however you want to try and do it, but either way, it's the people with the power that have the responsibility, and that responsibility is then put upon you. Your inability to do anything about it is your inability to do anything about it. But at the same time, whoever believes you to be responsible with the power to do something to you is the perception that is true and real merged in my head. Just because you can be right doesn't make you right. Whoever has the might is right.
Yeah,
you're going to die thinking you're right, and that belief that you're right is going to die with you. And then at the end of the day, no one's going to care or know what you thought. So your ability to be high and mighty and right is in the grave. And unfortunately, your thoughts don't continue after you're dead. So the people that killed you are going to continue to believe whatever they believed. And guess what? They also have propaganda or whatever the fuck. So whatever they say to anybody else that wants to hear it is going to hear it, and no one's going to hear you anymore. Unfortunately, as I said, perception is truth.
To proven otherwise.
But if you're no one around to prove otherwise, as I said, there is no victorious out here. If you want to ride your high horse to the grave, hopefully they give you a grave. Hopefully you're not buried in a ditch in the middle of the woods, unknown to anybody. You just vanished one day, and the people in power didn't tell anybody anything. Just another nuisance underfoot.
Yeah, that's a rabbit hole that, well.
I mean, I don't think it's even a rabbit hole. I don't see anything that I'm saying to be untrue. It's unfortunate. I don't think it's untrue. That's just how a despotic rulership works. I mean...
And eventually they failed anyway.
You would hope. Unfortunately, sometimes the human lifespan doesn't go last that long. Your hope that the despotic rulers of your country are going to go away before you do is still just a hope. At the end of the day, they've got the money, the power, the medicine. Who the fuck knows?
No, but they fail for a very reason. So even if it doesn't happen with time, it will happen. Historically speaking, a lot of things don't happen within a lifetime, good or bad or indifferent. So,
right, but at the end of the day, if you want to be real about this, the lifetime you care about is typically your own. I mean, you don't want your children to be raised in this same situation. And unfortunately, sometimes the despotic leaders have children too, and they're going to be raised to believe what they're doing is right, and your children are going to have to deal with their children, or, God forbid, them for longer too. How many regimes have been based on family lines? North Korea much?
Yeah.
I mean, Kim Jong-un was my generation, and I believe his father was in charge before him, and his son now. So it's just like... Yeah, not all regimes fall. At least not in the lifetimes of the people who have to suffer them.
That's true.
Fun, depressing times. And now America. Hope you liked voting, because that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah. As promised.
Anyway, back to the show. These people legit have zero read on one another. Sally says Quatre sounds like a great kid based on only the line that he would be sad if the Gundam was destroyed. Likewise, the Magnetic guys say that Wu Fei sounds like a great guy because he'd destroy his Gundam. That's legit nothing to base an opinion off of. That's hardly even enough to be surface level.
I guess. Yeah, they're extrapolating a lot of things from that. I think it would be much better, and they kind of tried it in that same sequence, like, yeah, we're not enemies, so why don't we just cooperate? My enemy and my enemy is my friend. That would have been much simpler than, yeah, I'm going to support you because the kid I support, great kid. Do you believe in that? Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. They give nothing for it, though. They're like about to pull off, and she's like double rocket launcher at them. Please let us take this Gundam. The guy that we're with would be real sad if it got destroyed. Sounds like a great kid. What?
Yeah, it's not like, oh no, we have been. It could have been like, no, we are not Oz. We are resisting Oz. That's why we're here. It's like, oh well, I'm also resisting Oz.
Well, I mean, they do shout that we're part of the Magnetic Corps, so maybe Sally Poe knows something about, like you said, the idea that the only information that we know is the information given to us in the moment.
Yeah,
so. Nothing gets set up ahead of time. Sally Poe isn't like, oh yeah, I dealt with some guys from the Magnetic Corps back in Southeast Asia when I was doing all my shit with Wu Fei or whatever. They could have done that.
Or when she was part of the Alliance, remember?
Yeah, but I mean, legitimately, we have no idea what the fuck is going on with the Magnetic Corps. With the Alliance era, did they come from space, or were they on Earth already? Like, I assume they've been on Earth already, because it seems like they're with that town and everything. But
that nation, yeah.
Well, I mean, legit, we have no fucking idea. We don't go into them that much, other than the fact that they're defending that town, and they got that underground base in the desert. They seem set up, but who the hell knows how long they've been setting up for. The show figures that it's already established how much of a badass Hero is by now, that we just transitioned into scenes where he's already kicked the ass of everyone in the room and has hacked the main computer to get exactly the information he wants, which is right when we join him. Imagine watching Mission Impossible and Ethan and gang discuss some upcoming mission they have to do, then screen wipe to Ethan standing in a room full of beat-up guards in front of a computer that they've already hacked. It would be super unsatisfying. The fun is watching them pull off these incredible plans. Wing instead has chosen that the important part of the scene is that we know that Hero knows about the mobile suit models, and that's it. Not how this teenager beat up a room of armed and trained adults, but how he hacked an encrypted military network. Just that he knows a small bit of information. That's the focus of the scene.
Hey, don't question the super coordinators, man. It's just one of those.
That's a different show.
I know.
Again, though,
maybe
it's the element that I woke up this morning and that's the first scene that I started writing notes about. It's just that they cut away from something to him, two guys on the ground, already beaten up, and he's already cracked the computer, so he's just reading the information. So it's like, that's the entire scene. Him seeing the information on the computer and then walking out of the room.
It could work in another circumstance if set up more exciting. Like he did that and then, there's alarms. I gotta go. So meditate. This scene could work again. Either it's an opening scene to an episode, like, I did this and now this is the first clue in my investigation, right? And he has to keep on doing the investigation. So it's like, okay, this is where he got it and he has to do a bunch of stuff. Or it's I got here. Now, how the hell do I get out, right? That's still the problem. I still have problems that I have to solve. It's not like the end of it. Like, I beat up. I guess I got to clock out. I'm done here, right?
I mentioned before, remember the show aired on Toonami back-to-back with like Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho? Fight-heavy shows. And this show is the one skipping fights. Lady Un's personality swapping is most confusing from the aspect of this last episode implying that she herself is confused by it. When the first time we meet her in her pacified state, she took the glasses off of someone's face, held them up to hers, and implied to them that she was Lady Un. Now she's taking her own glasses, holding them, and being confused that she's Lady Un. Either she's slipping further into delusion, or the show is doing a poor job of keeping track of what she does and doesn't understand.
I would prefer the former, but I suspect the latter.
Yeah. It's just, man, she took the glasses off the guy, she holds them backwards, like, I'm Lady Un. And it's like, I understand. And then this episode, she picks up her own glasses. Am I Lady Un? Like, what the fuck? I mean, fair enough if this is the first step of showing us that she's falling further in delusion, and I'm just like being hyperbolic about it because it's been so long now, but it just doesn't feel like the show is good enough to handle that. Alright, final note. So clearly the scientists are lying. They made the V8 with the largest beam rifle they could, right? The most firepower possible, except that these are the same guys, or one of them is at least, that designed the Wing Zero. Had Wing Zero's beam rifle fired in the scene where V8 fired its beam rifle, everyone in the room would have been dead, and we'd be watching this massive beam cutting its way outside the hull and into deep space. Instead, the output was far smaller than the Mercurius shields and barely lasted 5 seconds. Not for nothing, it's part of our overlay. How iconic the thing firing is. Probably beneath me here in the video is another shot of the Wing Zero firing a beam. It's got the most powerful beam, and one of these guys who made that beam said that they made the most powerful beam possible. Liars.
I think equipped it, I don't know. I can't. It's a big room, that's all I can say, but even still, it
doesn't even matter, it's a big room. I didn't compare it to the size of the room. I compared it to the size of the Mercurius' shields. Because remember, a shot that we haven't seen yet, but we both know, the Wing Zero cuts through a whole fucking colony with its beam rifle. This room is bigger than the hole it makes in the colony. So comparing it to the size of the Mercurius shields should imply that it's well beneath that.
Yeah.
Also, not for nothing, but even if they are lying, it's a stupid lie. Because Oz has seen the Wing Zero fire before. Like, legitimately, on the ground when they were attacking, let's say Atlanta. Looks like the Atlanta airport to me. When they attacked on the ground, its beam shot goes from the ground to above Leo's heads and kills entire swaths of them in one shot that doesn't move, so it's wider than a Leo. The Mercurius looks about the width of a Leo, maybe a little bit more, but not like more than the width of like 3 or 4 Leos, which is what we've seen it take out. So it's an obvious lie. And again, not for nothing, Lady Un was there. She's been present in both scenes.
Yeah, that would explain why Hero didn't just surrender. It's just like, oh, if this is what they said is true, then I'm going to blow this whole room in one shot. Oops. Nope.
Well, I'm assuming he surrendered because it's an infiltration. And he just assumed that they weren't going to shoot him. I assume that he assumed that because he saw Troa was there. Troa being the first one on the scene before anybody else could get there. If somebody else got there first, they would have killed him. Doesn't make much sense, though, because Nicole knows that Troa is a Gundam pilot. That's why he's a red line to Troa on the board.
Yeah. Without any way of knowing that, but he keeps saying, oh, he's a Gundam pilot, he's a Gundam pilot, he's a Gundam pilot. Like, okay, if you insist.
Well, I mean, it's that element of information. Sorry, it's another one of my nitpicks about Superman, the recent movie, which I'm not going to go into for spoiler reasons for you. But the element of, you seen the Will Smith movie Enemy of the State?
Yes.
It's the one that always enters my mind when I think, what can satellites do? You know, how far in can we zoom in on a target and know where they're going, right? How much of city traffic, say, can we monitor? And it's like, that's a sci-fi movie, but technically we're watching sci-fi anime, so how can they always lose these people? Like, I kept talking about an OG Gundam, the element of, we've got ships in orbit. Watch them. Like, some of these ships have telescopes on their bridge. Just look down. Keep track of this guy.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you have to be in the right position, and
your ship can move.
Yeah, but
and you can also station keep over a location.
You have to put a lot of ships in a lot of areas to make sure continuous coverage.
In this example, I'm using it as a keeping track of one guy, in which case all you need is the one ship.
You're going to have one ship just follow this guy around the world, basically?
Well, presumably if he's on foot, you're only keeping track on one area, you're station keeping.
The moment you have somebody who goes under a tree or something, like, oh, or a tunnel or a house.
Well, one, I would argue different sensor systems would be useful for different things like that, but also goes under a tree. I think maybe a better example would be under a forest or something. One tree.
Yeah.
I don't know, sir. He walked under that tree, and I haven't seen him leave from every angle. And I have all the angles because I'm looking top down at that thing. I think also either he went into an underground chamber or he fell asleep Rip Van Winkle style.
Yeah, there is something called the God's Eye illusion delusion, which is because you think you can see everything from top down, pure because of all your sensors, you come to believe that any based on that data has to be 100% correct. And so what tends to happen is, especially in Western militaries, they have all these sensors. Like, of course, that has to be the convoy that we're looking for. It turns out they're just 3 guys and the guys are just driving, blow them up, and we wasted a missile shot on 3
The other half of my argument to the situation is that we don't get shown any of it. It'd be different if they were trying and then... Sorry. Pushed my own hand off of the push to talk about. Stop talking! Nah! Anyway, it'd be different if they were trying and then they got eluded because of, maybe what you're talking about, maybe something else. But they don't try. It's like we have full authority over the we have full authority over the space above this region. We have full authority over the air in this region. Like, I've even brought up, why don't they have, like, scout planes? Like, they never looked for these people. It's like, oh, we lost them. I don't know, maybe use the Minovsky particle sensors. Their engine is a Minovsky particle engine. Like, god damn it. I hate stupidity in the villains. It'd be different if we were watching, like, fucking cartoons. Oh no, Robotnik lost Sonic somewhere around the woods. It's like, oh, well, Robotnik's a fucking cartoon villain. He literally, well, Sonic Sat AM is my best version of him, where he fucking takes over the world. But it's like, he's got no plan for post-world conquest either.
Yeah.
The whole impetus of Sonic Sat AM is the rebellion fighting against him. It's never, what's Robotnik doing with the world? He's done. Well, made everybody robots. Guess I'm going to sit in this chair for a while. Again, you always have to have a plan for when you're done.
Yeah. That's a reason why you're doing what you're doing, and not just because you want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if my whole thing was about turning the whole world into robots and I accomplished it, guess I'm going to watch every movie made in the last 10 years. I've been real busy. Haven't had time to watch movies.
Because I've been turning the whole world into robots.
Yeah, you know how much planning that requires? I would have been like, oh, God, I got to catch up on Marvel. I mean, there's no more Marvel. I made everybody into robots, but, you know, we'll see where they at least ended on.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe turn that guy back into a person, because essentially it's a reversible thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point, you've got everybody hostage.
Yeah. Maybe more movies. Yeah, it's expensive. Not if everybody works for me.
Well, literally, money's not a concept anymore. Literally, you do what I say. And
yeah.
Say it's a barter economy or a caloric economy. You work, and as much as you work for me, I will pay you back in food and board.
Yeah.
The only other thing I can pay you back for with is Marvel movies, but I need you to make more of those for that to work. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming since you're going to be working on it, you're not going to want to be paid in that.
Netflix accounts. Yeah.
All right, well, as I said, that was my final note. So anything left from you, considering... Okay? All right, well, like I said, there's nothing left to do but to hop on in and see what we get.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button.
Hit that subscribe button.
Comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this,
unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I know about 21 episodes in, it's probably a weird place to put this, but I kind of regret that we didn't watch it in English.
Regret what?
That we didn't watch it in English.
Oh, okay.
It's too late now.
I mean...
But we could have watched it in English and just had the subtitles, and it would have the same effect, I think.
True.
As I said, we did Gurren Lagann, I think, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood here on the channel in English, so it's not like unprecedented. Well, it's because the element is that Griffin decided to do Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood in English because that's the way he watched it. I wasn't going to disagree. I think I watched the original Full Metal Alchemist in English, obviously. Yeah. Gurren Lagann, I watched that in English, and I feel like having it in your own native language makes the emotional scenes more emotional. So watch that one in English. Well, because there's understanding involved. Also, it's the voices you're familiar with.
The thing is, I come from a tradition of very bad voice acting. And the voice acting sounds very generic.
Shit, that's what I'm talking about. Watching this, and it's very bad English voice acting.
Yeah.
It's on purpose.
No, this is bad. I'm talking about generic that is flat. Like, there's no emotion. Something happening. Like, well, dude, there's something important happening.
Yeah, the Mega Man cartoon.
Also, yeah.
Where Dr. Light sounds like he's drunk. Dr. Wily.
Yeah. Why that twirl was completely unnecessary, but I guess, you know. Grief-Stricken Quatre.
Zero's voice actor. What am I even fighting for?
Yeah. It was like a ship. Well, actually.
Oh, it's barge. Technically a ship and a fortress. Apropos of your previous argument about a fortress being stationary. Really, everyone's going to want to hear what your thoughts are about Hal's moving castle. Apropos of your statements about fortresses being stationary.
Oh. They are.
They're not. Especially in sci-fi or fantasy. I guess this is going to be the episode where we meet his parents, since he's in space. If this is a real medical bay, there would have been things on the side of his bed to prevent him from rolling out. Real medical beds have them. I don't know why a sci-fi bed wouldn't. Oh, it's not outside of Bozone's control. It's just outside of the control that they care to have. I believe Oz and Mufasa have the same rules about control. Whatever the sun sets on is ours.
For a moment, I thought, "Hey, is the wall opening or closing?"
Not what I thought you were gonna go with.
Yeah.
The way that they were
not
face
the
to face
hand.
for a moment and doing like that, I was like, "Is this a romantic relationship? What's going on?"
Yeah, I decided to skip that part. I noticed, but I said, "That's the forge, though."
Yeah, what we saw before. We just saw it from the face on because for some reason they like to do that. Sorry, the screens in the show are designed to give epilepsy. From 50% to 100%. How did that guy we just captured?
How stupid is she, though? It's like, unless she's hoping that the Tallgeese is gonna kill them.
Well, I don't think it's that, because otherwise you destroy your own project.
Yeah, because like, oh yeah, this guy just tried to steal anything. Let's give him a robot and see what happens.
Do they?
Yeah, he's the one who only makes sense.
Do we not remember this is the guy who tried to blow himself up?
Yeah.
Oh no, what are you gonna do? Kill me? I've tried that 3 times this series already. Jumped out of the hospital window 52 stories up. Tried to activate my own heart explosion thing in my uniform. Blew up a Gundam I was standing in.
Yeah, too good to be true. Now
Wait
I'm
a
siding
second,
with the
haven't
other
I
guy.
seen you in a circus show?
Yeah. Now I'm siding with the other guy going like, this guy's too good.
Well,
Not that he's a
Nicole's
Gundam
problem
pilot, but
is
it's
that
like-
he's got to tiptoe the line between 2 different Lady Uns because he serves one.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, this is just an excuse to have these guys fight again.
Yeah, 2v1x.
Mm.
In modern suits instead of the stupid-ass heavy arms.
Maybe I like heavy arms is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, you always jump to its defense every time I call it stupid-ass. Calls them like I sees them. I'm glad those self-protection programs are working.
機体の基本性能が人間の登場するタイプと同じことだ。機動力、反応速度の感知までは全く同じ。
Are they though?
Seems to me their weakness is that they don't respond to threats.
俺にとってはモビルドール1機より宇宙機雷の方が手を焼く。
You know, keep watching this. I'm assuming there's a control room that's witnessing this.
Yeah, it's like, why are you blowing our suits up?
目標を補足した。
And also, Tro was like, I think we should send out the mobile dolls. It's like, well, you just let them get destroyed?
Yeah, this whole sequence. This is the part where, again, Wing became very confusing for me. I still watched it, but it was like...
I was just watching for the Zex parts, so this was like good for me. Because they don't have to think about it.
Yeah, conveniently now they're not maneuvering against you.
Okay, that's more like the Wing Zero. Yeah. They are a good combo duo of mobile suits.
Yeah, one defensive, one offensive.
Well, also the defensive one protects the offensive one.
Yeah. How convenient that every time they miss, they hit the mobile dolls. Again, more mobile dolls gets destroyed. And nobody's calling up on this. Like, why are you destroying?
I think they should still have been calling up on the fact that it's their own guys destroying it more than Zack suddenly doing it. Why? The mobile dolls aren't doing anything.
Now he just surrenders. This is the most...
Well, it's how they do it all the time. If I need to talk, I just
Yeah.
get out of the cockpit and raise my hands. By which I mean I'm an ambassador of goodwill. Maybe you've heard of us?
Yeah.
Deposit sites
With
all
this
over the
big
country.
giant gun. I came as a piece of wood, but it's a giant fucking gun. Yeah.
技術者や労働者である。安定した地球よりも劣悪な環境に耐え、さらに向上しようとするその気概が新たな力を生んできたのだ。それを支援する財団がウィナー家である。
Yeah, they're winners.
ウィナー家の現
They're the winner family.
自らもコロニーに移り住み、コロニー居住者の権利確保のため、地球圏統一連合との交渉の矢面に立って
They do a pretty good job. I blame that pacifism
壊
thing.
滅した現在も付近のコロニーの代表としてあくまでも平和的思想のもとオズと対峙している人物である。皆様、ちょっと。何？カトルが戻っただと？
I mean, you've divested himself. You've divested yourself of him.
Because I am your stepmother.
この親不孝者が
今でも僕は正しいと思っています。
人間は宇宙に住むことさえやっとのことなのだ。何が戦争だ。無理であり無駄なのだ。
I mean, a negotiator is still involved in the war.
お前はモビルスーツで地球に降りたばかりでなく、コロニー攻撃の口実を作ってしまったのだ。
でも誰かが戦わないとこの戦争は終わらないんです。
で、終わったのか？お前
Oh,
が戦った
burn.
戦争は終わったのか？お前に何
At the same time,
子供のお
the
前
war's not over either, old man. The negotiations haven't affected.
親の言うことも聞くものだ。そこをもう少し考えろ。
あら、立派な跡取りではありませんか。
イリア、お前まで何を言う？
お父様、子供だからって何もできない
Sorry,
と限りません。
is that like a
私の大切
pet
な
names for one another, or
Yes,
you're like an older sister? Oh, little
No,
brother,
little
okay.
brother. Yeah. It's like, wait a minute. He didn't recognize her older sister?
Please don't call me daddy in front of.
Yeah.
でもコロニー全体が一段となればまだなんとかなるって考えていらっしゃる。
なぜ姉さんだと教えてくれなかったの？
お父様から弟がガンダム
Oh, that's right. She's the nurse, right?
Mm-hmm. He's a doctor, I think.
私もどうしようかなって迷っちゃって。
各地の資源衛星に姉さんたちがいるとは聞いていたけれど。
みんなあなたの味方よ。本当はお父様も。あなたが一人で飛び出していった時、一番心配したのはお父様だったのよ。
I mean, it'd be real weird if this went a whole Thunderbolt route, and like, memory of him shot dead.
だがウィナー家の考えでは平和にはモビルスーツなど不要だ。それをあいつは無視して教授に協力した。
Then he crashed and he died.
武力による問題解決はまた新たな問題を生むのだ。
Unless you're super aggressive.
それは分かっていない。
Well, actually, more like
ここで
effective.
So I was saying, if you're so aggressive that the other guys can't handle it, then there's no solutions that they can pull out.
でも僕が至らなくて地球で壊してしまったけれど。
何を始めるの？
教授はもういない。
Gonna build another one.
ためにもう一度ガンダムを
See?
作るんだ。
If Quatre can
Yeah.
do it by himself, why can't the instructor?
今でも本当にコロニーのみんなのために戦える？
え？
あなたと同じように戦ったガンダムのパイロットは捕まり、そのガンダムは見せしめに破壊された。それをコロニーの人は喜んで見ていた。この宇宙でガンダムを味方と思っている人は誰もいなくなったわ。
Well, fuck you guys too.
カトル、これからも戦えるの？
誰かに認めてもらうために戦ったわけじゃないよ。でも信じてるんだ。きっとみんないつか分かってくれる。サンドロックがいなくなったんでちょっとセンチになってるんだね。
ごめんなさい。お姉さんなのにいじめるようなことばかり言って。
姉さん。
私たちはみんなあなたを愛している。だから
The thing is, I'm your sister. I would mean to you, but he didn't recognize you.
ありがとう。
No, it doesn't matter. Her feelings aren't dependent on him recognizing that she's a sister. She's just saying, I'm your sister, and that's what it feels like to me. To you, I feel bad about being mean.
なぜ防衛軍備が必要なのだ。
ウィナー様、
'Cause without arms, I wouldn't be able to stop you from hitting me.
ここは常に危険な戦略拠点なのです。
そして市民は
But
自らの手で安全を確保したいのです。安全？これがか。お前たちが勝手に武装したこの武器を見て安全とか平和という言葉が浮かんでくるのか。
Again, the stupidity of this fucking argument. Your enemy isn't the predator. He doesn't shoot people who are unarmed. I'm assuming these people are going to shoot unarmed people.
私が独裁などした。すべてはコロニーの平和のためオズの介入に反対してきただけだ。もし本当にこの地を独裁する者がいるとしたら、それはお前たちだ。
Cool, raise your voices to people who know you're unarmed.
ウィナー様、もはや一個人の所有というわけにはいかないのです。早くここの管轄権利の提供について決議をさせてください。武器を作るために、人殺しの道具を作るために、なぜ私が協力せねばならんのだ。
See, this is what I talked about before when I said what was it? Not democracy is sometimes wrong. The public desire is often wrong. Not often wrong, but it has to be subverted for the good of all. When I keep talking about the girls in Georgia, everyone rallied against them going to school, and then you had to call in the National Guard to escort them to school, because that's the right thing to do, and what everyone else believes is the right thing to do is wrong.
I mean, that's a tyranny of the majority over the minority. That's about one of the two balancing points of extremes of democracy.
Not a big fan of it. Democracy. Not a big fan of democracy. I'm sure we could find a better way if we gave it a shot.
I think they have been tried before.
Not all of them. There's a lot of modern government types that have been theorized over time. But nobody wants to, like, put at risk their power. Sore loser. That's what I'm hearing. Ironic, given his name was a winner.
Yeah.
He won't stop at anything? The right way? Say that? Because I'm used to he'll stop at nothing. Again, you just can't take your toys and go home when the bully is armed. Can't do that.
That's a contradiction.
Also, for the colonies not being armed, what are they pointing at him then? It's not like I got a family I need to take care of or anything. Oh shit.
And a business.
Man, that unarmed colony sure is pulling out some work. Oh, she passed out pretty quick. Also, maybe they should have, like, targeted the control room or something, because ostensibly they need the rest of that thing for the future of the colony.
Actually, that's the opposite.
Yeah, he said he was running away. You calling him dad a liar? Are we giving Quatre a Batman backstory all of a sudden?
Yeah, in a way. I don't think they can hear you from there. Even though we established that people can hear each other without any radio or anything like that.
I was just thinking to myself, he starts like Joker. It's a Joker origin story.
Yeah.
Or Earth 2 Joker origin story, if you're familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is how, they broke Quatre, basically.
Again, the most armed, unarmed station I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I hear nobody can hear you scream.
Mm-hmm.
unless you're Quadra.
Yeah. Or Lady Yun.
Yeah, weird episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the weird arc. Basically, the middle arc of the show. It's just weird.
I said in my
they're
notes,
setting
I'm
up
just not a
some-
believer in the whole total pacifism route. And obviously, I don't feel like Papa Winter was proven right in any regard.
Yeah.
Because all they did was they
my
killed
take-
him and pulled everything back.
Yeah, the thing is, with pacifism, I admire the pacifists for being able to sacrifice themselves. But I said this before. What happens when they go after other people? You can stand and do nothing? And if you put yourself in the middle and they kill you, and then they go and they kill this other, hurt them, you just wasted your life. So sometimes it's okay to be pacifist for yourself, sacrifice. Extremely brave. But if you're unwilling to defend other people, I think that's cowardly. That's my take on pacifism.
I know, you finished with like 5 seconds left.
Yeah, I'm confused. And I remember watching this.
トレーズの未来を見出そうとするレディアンはロームヘラ財団の命令の裏で独自の行動を取るのであった。新機動戦機ガンダムウィング第22話独立をめぐる戦い。
Like I said, I don't remember the show being that long, so there's going to be a lot of this. It's just like, what the hell? Like, in my mind, I'm still like, when the fuck does Dorothy show up? Like,
yeah.
Oh, eyebrows herself.
Yeah.
It's just like in my head, it's like I thought she was an important character, but again, I don't remember when the hell she shows up. But again, that's got to be the start of another arc. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not even just pacifism though, like you're talking about. It's total pacifism. In which case, I think I had a whole thing about this in my notes before. That only works if everybody on the planet is a total pacifist. One person chooses not to be a total pacifist, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah. I agree. You have a right to defend yourself. I once like war in the defense is heroic, war in the offense is demonic.
I mean, I don't agree with that either. A war in the offense against someone who's oppressing people, that's good.
Yeah, but the position is that if you're war of the offense, you're doing it to hurt or oppress other people.
That's
while
what I'm saying.
someone who is being defense.
Your phrasing doesn't work because it takes too much into interpretation. And like I said, you can reinterpret things the opposite. Like a war of the offense, it can be done for a good reason against bad people. So it's not demonic. I understand that the thing about poetry is to make things as short as possible so that it rolls off the tongue, sticks in the mind, those sorts of things. But if you eliminate too much, one of the reasons that I fell asleep in the middle of taking my notes about the second episode is I was reading who wrote Leviathan.
I read. I don't agree with the conclusions of
His name starts with
Leviathan.
an H.
Yes,
his last name starts with an H, I should say. Thomas Hobbes. Sorry, I still had it open.
Hobbes. Yeah, it's Hobbes versus Rousseau, because I also read Rousseau's not quite counter argument, because Leviathan is very much you got to follow the king, you got to follow the structure, so the society will collapse. It's almost an it's a pro-monarchical defense.
Well, I was mostly reading the segments about essentially life is war. It's always man versus man, and you're not even in a war scenario, just in daily life that it's always struggle. I mean, like I said, I fell asleep reading it, so obviously.
But the problem is that the reason why that is because people make it that way and can choose otherwise. It's like where that kind of statement presupposes. It's the difference in saying there's struggles in life, or in life there is suffering, and saying life is suffering.
I think the Buddhist tradition would agree that life is suffering. Life is pain. Yeah, no, again, this goes back to a previous depressing point that we said before the start of the episode, that perception is reality. Your argument that people make it that way, well, that's reality then. If people didn't make it that way, that would be reality then too. But
Yeah, but it is possible to be
in the
other way.
world. You live in the world that you live in. You can theorize, or you can imagine, John Lennon, a different world that's not reality. That is not what the world is.
No, but I also see the reality where people cooperate and work together as well as part of reality, where the expectation is, oh, people will prey on each other. I personally experienced large groups of people cooperating, like,
yeah, I'm not saying that's not the thing.
To.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
Here's the problem with what I think your argument is that I'm not indicating that doesn't exist. That exists a lot. People, I think I fall into the thought process that people are inherently good. But the problem is with the whole perception is reality thing, is that's not what you hear about. The negative news cycle is what gets ratings, and the negative news cycle is also what gets people talking at the water cooler. You hear the negative stuff so much that you believe that that's what the world is like, and in a reciprocal cycle, you kind of create that world. So, perception being reality, you perceive the world as bad, full of bad people doing bad things, and that's more what you're going to see. Now, you might encounter the people helping you out a lot, and that does happen a lot, I mean, it used to anyway. Don't know what the world's becoming these days, but again, perception being reality, that's what reality is. Your choices in life are going to be affected by what you believe to be true. And what you believe to be true affecting your choices then make the reality that you already believe to be true. You affect things to become what you thought they already were.
Up to a point. Okay, there's a limit to what you can do personally.
Yeah, and that's also a horrible point that there's no real effect that a person can have on a system. People like to say every vote matters, but at the end of the day, does it?
If enough people.
Yeah,
no.
It's not your vote that matters. It's a collective of votes that matter. Especially in the electoral college.
Yeah, but the conundrum is if you don't vote and the other person don't vote, and then,
I would argue, though, that if you're not talking about not voting, then you're not going to cause a cascade of people not voting. Your apathy only affects other people if you spread your apathy around. If you're a person who says, my vote doesn't matter, and start telling everybody how their votes don't matter, you might spread that apathy around and then cause the situation that you are saying will happen. Again, perception reality. If you're creating the world based on your perception of it, then it's partly your fault. But then again, the same point. If your vote doesn't matter, and it's only a collective of votes that doesn't matter, it's not exactly your fault. It's a collective of everybody like you's fault.
We don't have as much power as we want to have, but we have more power than the power that we think we have. I think that's the way I would put it.
Well, in the modern era, sure. Social media and whatnot. Your voice gets added to a mass of voices that are all saying the same thing, essentially. And if it was just one person saying it, that'd be different. But scrolling down a whole list of people that are all saying the same thing makes the message stronger than if one person was saying it and a bunch of people just agreed with that person. Like having a mountain of sand versus just a beach. The mountain seems bigger for being all there, whereas the beach is all spread out.
So with that very enlightened view of the episode, like I said earlier, this is the weird arc. I mean, we went from the trying to be serious, and they're playing this straight, so they're still trying to be serious. But now we're in the shifting alliances, and this person does this, but they're gonna shift again to be against them. It feels very much like wrestling, right? Like people are doing heel turns ultimately because we got to keep the series going, and we still have to have the reason for people being in the ring, right? And it gets boring that this one character is always the goodie, so now they're gonna be a baddie for a little while. Allied with this other group. Let's forget what happened 5 minutes ago. It's all about the moment, right? This is the soap opera of.
I would say I got to think
right?
You know more about wrestling than think that they're goodies and baddies.
Yeah, no, but different groups, right? The heel turns and it's like it's not about what happened 5 minutes ago. That we forget about that. That's not a problem. It's about now.
Oh, no,
it's about
not wrestling.
setting up.
We call back to that all
mean,
the time. I won't forgive you what you did back in Atlanta, Austin. You're going to call back to that all the way to SummerSlam.
Yeah, but then eventually the story is that Austin, who is supposed to be the baby face, eventually he'll be like, oh, he's going to have a heel turn, and he's going to be, the heel. And so it's like, oh, yeah, I remember what happened. We hate this guy even more, so let's team up together because a team up between us is going to be cool for this SummerSlam versus that. And then in the middle of the fight, it's like, no, I remember, Chicago.
That's what I'm saying. It's all
like,
callbacks. It's callbacks all the way down. Because even if you say, oh, we moved on, that, as you were just, I think, indicating, that's when the other guy betrays the other guy in the ring for remembering Atlanta, Austin. That's just it's always remember berries. You don't move on. You keep with the storylines that everyone's aware of until you create another, node position for a thing everyone's going to remember.
Yeah, but there's no consistency of character per se other than whatever we need. It's characterization based on plot. Aside from this character is going to behave this way because the plot demands that someone played this role. When there's a shifting like musical chairs, right? There's a series of roles, heel turns, babyface, etc., and then or heel and heel turn are the same thing.
Oh no!
And then you just have people.
A heel turn is when a face turns heel.
Yeah.
A heel turn is an event. A heel is a person.
Heel is. Yeah, that's why I say it's not the same thing. They're related, but they're not the same thing.
I'm not claiming I know everything about wrestling terminology. Just still stuck on goodies and baddies.
Yeah.
I like to hear Triple H, I played a baddie.
And it's just a matter of who we can put on the chair
rises
next.
Up from hell and says, I used to play a goodie.
Yeah. That would be one heck of a show.
You don't remember Vince McMahon once wrestled God?
Yeah.
He goes out on stage and challenges God, and then the spotlight just goes across the crowd as though God was walking to the stage. And then Vince McMahon says, turn off the spotlight. God's a coward. He will wrestle me. It's a mix of, steroids, insanity, and being a generally evil person in real life.
And, and that's what's happening here, right? We need to have this constant conflict. So, okay, you used to be, Lady Young used to be very militant and murdering people. Oh, now we're going to have a split personality so we can justify that she does something else, right? That's what's going on here, which is fine. It's fun, but don't try to make much sense of it because they just won't.
Well, I mean, remember WWE, Trump, RoboCop,
more than once.
Yeah. So yeah, they try anything. Got to keep the ratings up. They even had the WWF on there. I'm sorry, WCW is what I meant to say.
Yeah. I mean, comic book crossovers, right?
Well, I mean, WCW was on the verge of shutting down, so really it was about getting the new guys into the public knowledge. Who, if you're WWF, back when they were that before they got sued by the World Wildlife Federation. World Wildlife Federation.
Right. they enter the stage like, a giant panda bear.
Tell you, Red Panda, I've been tired of you stealing my name. This week at SummerSlam, everyone's going to know who the true panda is.
Pandemonium
there you go.
SummerSlam. Yeah.
Well, it writes itself. Get the guy who does the animal tier lists on that one. Have you ever seen those videos?
I don't know.
Oh, he actually does.
But I wouldn't be surprised
it's not a tier list. It's like he ranks the animals of certain species by fighting ability and whatnot.
Oh,
it's like humans are broken, or things like that. Like if it was doing video game stuff, he does it for animals.
And then Bear Grylls shows up, and he's one of the announcers because why wouldn't it?
Well, I would say, what's his name? Stung Through the Heart by a Stingray.
I think he did one of those clay animation ones, didn't he? No, he died. He never got
Steve
into
Irwin.
that one.
I had to think for a second.
Steve Irwin, yeah. I think he did one of the clay animation.
Steve Irwin Battles one. And Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
Just to get both voices in the same room as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually did enjoy Death Battles back in the day with MTV. That was actually fun.
Again, you keep saying Death Battle. That's Celebrity Death Match. Death Battle
Celebrity
is the
Deathmatch,
show
yeah.
that me and Griffin used to do here on the channel, among other shows of that type. There's also Superpowered Beatdown, which is the live action version of that. I swear there was a third one. I just can't remember the name.
Well, that was this episode of Gundam Wing. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?